Welcome everybody to the first annual Woodward Academy Shakespearean Sonnet Slam / Festival. This is our second period. We'll be reading sonnets number 26 through 50. But before we do that, we have a special performance by Ms. McCook's theater group. We have an interlude of the reading from Comedy of Errors of Grace Hensel, Brianna Harrington, and Connor Baldwin.
Neither my husband nor the slave returned, that in such haste I sent to seek his master. Sure, Luciana, it is 2 o'clock.
Perhaps the merchant hath invited him, and from the mart he still were gone to dinner. Good sister, let us dine and never fret. A man is the master of his liberty. Time is their master, and when they see the time, they'll go or come. If so, be patient, sister.
Why should their liberty than ours be more?
Because their business still lies out a door.
Look when I serve him so, he takes it ill.
Oh no, he is the bridle of your will.
There's none but asses will be bridled so.
Why, headstrong liberty is lashed with woe. There's nothing situated under heaven's eye, but hath his bounds in earth and sea and sky. The beasts, the fishes, and the winged fowls are their male subjects, and are at the controls. Men, more divine, the masters of all these, lords of the wide world and wide watery seas, endued with intellectual sense and souls, more preeminent than fish and fowls, are masters to their females and their lords. Them the pure will attend on their accords.
This servitude makes you to keep unwed.
Not this, but troubles of the marriage bed.
But were you wedded, you would bear some sway.
Ere I learn love, I'll practice to obey.
How will your husband start some other way?
Till he come again, I would forbear.
Patience unmoved, no marvel though she pause. They can be meek that have no other cause. A wretched soul bruised with adversity, we bid be quiet when we hear it quiet. But we were burdened with like weight of pain, as much or more would we ourselves complain. So thou hast no unkind mate to grieve thee, with urging helpless patience wouldst relieve me. But if thou live to see like ripe bereft, this foul-begged patience in thee will be left.
Well, I will marry one day, but to try. Here comes your man, now is your husband nigh.
Say, is your tardy master now at hand?
Nay, but he sent 2 hands with me, and that my 2 ears can witness.
Say, didst thou speak with him? Knowest thou his mind?
Aye, he told me upon mine ear. Beshrew his hand, I scarce can understand it.
Spake he so doubtfully, thou couldst not feel his meaning?
Nay, he struck so plainly, and upon his mind upon mine ear. Beshrew his hand, I scarce can understand it.
But say, I prithee, is he coming home? It seems he hath great care to please his wife.
Why, mistress, sure my master is horn mad.
Horn mad? Thou villain!
I mean not cuckold mad, but sure, he is stark mad. When I desired for him to come home to dinner, he asked me for 1,000 marks in gold. 'Tis dinner time, quoth I. My gold, quoth he. Your meat doth burn, quoth I. My gold, quoth he. Will you come home, quoth I. My gold, quoth he. Where's the 1,000 marks I gave thee, villain? The pig, quoth I, is burned. My gold, quoth he. My mistress, sir, quoth I. Hang up thy mistress. I know not thy mistress. Out on thy mistress.
Quoth who?
Quoth my master. I know, quoth he. No house, no wife, no mistress. So that my errand do unto my tongue. I thank him. I bear home upon my shoulders. For, in conclusion, he did beat me there.
Go back again, thou slave, and fetch him home.
Go back again and be beaten new home? For God's sake, send some other messenger.
Back, slave, or I will break thy pated cross.
And he will bless that cross with another beating. Between you I shall have a holy head.
Hence, prating peasant, fetch thy master home.
Am I so round with you as you with me, that like a football you do spurn me thus? You spurn me hence, he will spurn me hither. If I am to last in this service, you must case me in leather.
All right, thank you very much. Now, up next, we have reading Shakespearean sonnet number 26. We have Raven Hawkins, Ms. Hawkins, and everyone else. Please come up this side of the amphitheater to my left, your right, and then exit the opposite side. All right, and also we're starting a new tradition here at Woodward Academy. This is our first annual Shakespearean sonnet slam slash festival. And when you come up to read, we have a bus that has been loaned to us by our very own Coach Crook, the co-sponsor of this particular event. And as you come up, right before you read, rub Shakespeare's head for good luck. All right, Raven, 26. Yeah. All right. Yep, rub his head.
Lord of my love, to whom in vassalage thy merit hath my duty strongly knit, to thee I send this written ambassage to witness duty, not to show my wit. Duty so great, which wit so poor as mine, make seem bare, in wanting words to show it, but that I hope some good conceit of thine, in those souls thought all naked, which bestow it, till whatsoever star they guides my moving points on me graciously with fair aspect, and puts apparel on my tattered loving, to show me worthy of thy sweet respect. Then may I dare to boast how I do love thee, till then not show my head where thou mayest prove me.
Thank you very much. Reading sonnet number 27, Christian Raver.
Weary with toil, I haste to my bed. The dear repose for limbs will travel tired. But then begins a journey in my head, to work my mind when body's work's expired. For then my thoughts, from far where I abide, intend a zealous pilgrimage to thee, and keep my drooping eyelids open wide, looking on darkness, which the blind do see. Save that my soul's imaginary sight presents thy shadow to my sightless view, which, like a jewel hung in the ghastly night, makes black night beauteous from her old face new. Lo, thus by day my limbs, by night my mind, for thee and for myself no quiet find.
All right, thank you very much. Reading sonnet number 28, we have Hannah Davis. Rub his head. Okay, good luck.
How can I then return in happy plight, that I am debarred the benefit of the rest, when day's oppression is not eased by night, but night by... But day by night, and night by day oppressed, and each though enemies to resign, do in constant shake hands to torture me. The one by toil, the other to complain, how far I toil, still farther off from thee. I tell the day to please him, thou art bright, and dost him grace when clouds do blot the heaven. So flatter I the swart complexioned night, when sparkling stars twire not thou glist the even. But day doth daily draw my sorrows longer, and night doth nightly make grief's strength seem stronger.
Thank you very much. Reading sonnet number 29, Soraya Kelly.
When in disgrace with fortune in men's eyes, I alone beweep my outcast state, and trouble doth heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself and curse my fate, wishing me like to one more rich in hope, featured like him with friends possessed, desiring this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy, contented least. Yet in these thoughts myself almost despising, happily I think on thee, and then my state, like to the lark at break of day arising, from sullen earth sings hymns at heaven's gate, for thy sweet love remembered such wealth, brings that then I scorn to change to my state with kings.
All right, doing a special hip-hop rap presentation of sonnet number 30, we have Mr. Warren Sams.
MC Shakespeare. When the sessions of sweet silent thought, I summon up my remembrance of things past. I sign the lack of many things I sought, and with the old woes new well my dear times waste. Then I can drown and deny, unsoothe the flow, for precious friends hid in death's stateless night, and weep afresh love's long since canceled woe. and moan and of express of many vanished sight. Then I can grieve and grieveness forgone, and heavily from woe to woe tell over, and sad account for the foreboned moan, which anew pay as if not paid before. But if the while I think of thee, dear friend, all losses are restored and sorrows end.
Thank you very much. We have reading Shakespeare Sonnet number 31, Ahmad Jingo.
Thy bosom is endeared with all hearts, which I by lacking have supposed dead, and there reigns love in all love's loving parts. And all those friends which I thought buried, how many a holy and obsequious tear hath dear religious love stolen from mine eye, as interests of the dead which now appear, but things removed that hidden in thee lie. Thou art the grave where buried love doth live, hanged with the trophies of my lovers gone, who all their parts of me to thee did give. That dear of many now is thine alone. The images I loved I view in thee, and thou all they hast all of me.
All right, up next we have a special presentation by our one and only Miss Lori Beth Wiseman, reading Shakespeare Sonnet number 32. Miss Wiseman. There you go.
I did. Sonnet 32. If thou survive my well-contented day, when that churl death my bones with dust shall cover, and shalt by fortune once more resurvey these poor rude lines of thy deceased lover, compare them with the bettering of the time, and though they be outstripped by every pen, reserve them for my love, not for their rhyme, exceeded by the height of happier men. Oh, then vouchsafe me but this loving thought. Had my friend's muse grown with this growing age, a dearer birth than this his love hath brought, to march in ranks of better equipage. But since he died, and poets better prove, theirs for their style I'll read, his for his love.
Reading Shakespeare Sonnet number 33, we have Maddie Burke. Mine is her banjo. Inside joke.
Sonnet 33. Full many a glorious morning I have seen, flatter the mountaintops with sovereign eye, kissing the gold face of meadows green, gilding pale streams with heavenly alchemy, anon permit the basest clouds to ride, with ugly rack on his celestial face, and from the forlorn world his visage hide, stealing unseen to west with this disgrace. Even so my sun one early morn did shine, with all triumphant splendor on my brow. But out, alack, he was but 1 hour mine, the region cloud hath masked him from me now. Yet him for this my love no whit disdaineth, sons of the world may stain when heaven's sun staineth.
All right, thank you very much. Reading Shakespeare Sonnet number 34, we have Caroline Backey.
Why didst thou promise such a beauteous day, and make me travel forth without my cloak, to let base clouds o'ertake me in my way, hiding thy bravery in their rotten smoke? 'Tis not enough that through the cloud thou break, to dry the rain on my storm-beaten face, for no man well of such a salve can speak, that heals the wound and cures not the disgrace. Nor can thy shame give physic to my grief, though thou repent, yet I have still the loss. The offender's sorrow lends but weak relief to him that bears the strong offense's cross. Ah, but those tears are pearl which thy love sheds, and they are rich in ransom all ill deeds.
All right, Phil, there's a change in your program. Filling in for Amy Shaker, who is not here today, we have Max Averson performing Shakespeare Sonnet number 35.
No more be grieved than at that which thou hast done. Roses have thorns, and silver fountains mud. Clouds and eclipses stain both moon and sun, and loathsome canker lives in sweetest bud. All men make faults, and even I in this, authorizing thy trespass with compare, myself corrupting, salving thy amiss, excusing thy sins more than thy sins are. For to thy sensual fault I bring in sense, the adverse party is thy advocate. and 'gainst myself a lawful plea commence, such civil war is in my love and hate, that I an accessory needs must be to that sweet thief which sourly robs from me.
All right, thank you very much, Max, for filling in so nicely at the last minute. We will now stop for a Shakespearean interlude of a performance from Richard III from Chris Dupree and Haley Thomas. So please turn your attention to the bottom of the Richardson Theater, Richardson Hall.
All right.
What black magician conjures up this fiend to stop devoted charitable deeds?
Sweet saints, for charity, be not so cursed.
Foul devil, for God's sake, hence, and trouble us not. For thou hast made the happy earth thy hell. If thou delight to view thy heinous deeds, behold this pattern of thy butcheries.
Lady, you know no rules of charity.
Villain, thou knowest no law of God nor man.
Vouchsafe, divine perfection of a woman, of these supposed evils to give me leave, by circumstance but to acquit myself.
Didst thou not kill the king?
I grant ye.
Just grant me, hedgehog. Then God grant me too. Thou mayest be damned for that wicked deed.
Gentle, Lady Anne.
Oh, he was gentle, mild, and virtuous.
The fitter for the King of Heaven that hath him.
And you unfit for any place but hell.
Yes, one place else, if you will hear me name it.
Some dungeon.
Your bedchamber. Let's leave this keen encounter of our wits. Your beauty, which did haunt me in my sleep, to undertake the death of all the world, so I might live 1 hour in your sweet bosom.
If I thought that held thee homicide, these nails should rend that beauty from my cheeks.
These eyes could never endure sweet beauty's wreck. As all the world is cheered by the sun, so I by that. It is my day, my life. He that bereft thee, lady, of thy husband, did it help thee to a better husband.
His better doth not breathe upon this earth.
He lives that loves thee better than he could.
Where is he?
Here. Why dost thou spit at me?
Would it were mortal poison for thy sake.
Never came poison from so sweet a place.
And never hung poison from a fouler toad. Out of my sight, thou dost infect my eyes.
Those eyes of thine from mine have drawn salt tears, told the sad story of my father's death, that all the stand-by-us had wet their cheeks, like trees bedashed with rain. In that sad time, my manly eyes did scorn a humble tear. And what these sorrows could not thence exhale, thy beauty hath, and made them blind with weeping. Teach not thy lips such scorn, for they were made for kissing, lady, not for such contempt. If thy revengeful heart cannot forgive, I humbly beg for death upon my knee. Nay, do not pause, for I did kill King Harry, but 'twas thy beauty that provoked me. Take up that sword again, or take up me.
I will not be the executioner.
Then bid me kill myself, and I will do it.
I have already.
Tush, that was in thy rage. Speak it again.
I would I knew thy heart. I fear it was false.
Then never man was true.
Well, put up your sword.
But shall I live in hope?
All men I hope live so.
Vouchsafe to wear this ring.
To take is not to give.
I will with all expedient duty see you.
With all my heart, and it must joys me too, to see you or become so penitent.
Bid me farewell.
'Tis more than you deserve. But since you teach me to flatter you, imagine I have said farewell already.
All right, thank you very much. For sake of time, I will say we're going to go right through Sonnet number 36 by Anna Bowden, 37 by Zaire Jeffries, 38 by Nick Shapiro, 39 by Alex Ford, and number 40 by Grace Andrade.
Sonnet 36. Let me confess that we two must be twain. Although our undivided loves are one, so shall those bolts that do with me remain. Without thy help by me be borne alone. In our two loves there is one respect. Though in our lives is separable spite, which though it alter not love's sole effect, yet doth it steal sweet hours from love's delight. I may not evermore acknowledge thee, lest my bewailed guilt should do the shame. Nor thou with public kindness honor me, unless thou take thy honor from thy name. But do not so, I love thee in such sort, as though being mine, mine is good report.
As a decrepit father takes delight to see his active child do deeds of youth, so I, made lame by fortune's dearest spite, take all my comfort of thy worth and truth. For whether beauty, birth, or wealth or wit, or any of these all or more, entitled in thy parts do crowns sit, I make my love engrafted to this store. So then I am not lame, poor, nor despised, whilst that this shadow doth such substance give, that I in thy abundance am sufficed, and by a part of all thy glory live. Look, what is best, that best I wish in thee. This wish I have, then 10 times happy me.
How can my muse, once subject to invent, while thou dost breathe, thou pourest into my verse, thine own sweet argument too excellent for every vulgar paper to rehearse? Oh, give thyself the thanks, if aught in me worthy pursual stand against thy sight, for who's so dumb that cannot write to thee, when thou thyself dost give invention light? Be thou the 10th muse 10 times more worth than those old 9 which rhymers invocate, and he that calls on thee, let him bring forth eternal numbers to outlive long date. If my slight muse do please these curious days, the pain be mine, but thine shall be the praise.
Oh, how thy worth with manners may I sing, when thou art all the better part of me. What can mine own praise to mine own self bring? And what is't but mine own when I praise thee? Even for this let us divided live, and our dear love whose name of single one, that by this separation I may give that due to thee which thou dear deservest alone. O absence, what a torment wouldst thou prove, were it not thy sour leisure gave sweet leave to entertain the time with thoughts of love, which time and thought so sweetly doth deceive, and that thou teachest how to make one twain by praising him here who doth hence remain.
Take all my loves, my love, yeah, take them all. What hast thou then more than thou hast before? No love, my love, that thou mayest true love call. All mine was thine before thou hast this more. Then if for my love thou my love receivest, I cannot blame thee for my love thou usest, but yet be blamed if thou thyself deceivest, by willful taste of what thyself refusest. I do forgive thy robbery, gentle thief, although steal thee all my poverty, and yet love knows it is greater grief to bear love's wrong than hate's known injury. Lascivious grace, in whom all ill will shows, kill me with spites, yet we must not be foes.
All right, thank you very much. We will now stop for another interlude. Performing excerpt from Richard III, we have Omri Rigby, Max Abramson, and Raheel Chandra.
Wait, Steve. So you just said you and I say I.
Yeah, that'll work. What? Shall we stab him as he sleeps?
No. Then he'll say 'twas done cowardly when he wakes.
When he wakes? Why, fool, he shall never wake till the judgment day.
Why? Then he'll say we stabbed him sleeping.
The urging of that word judgment hath bred a kind of remorse in me.
What, art thou afraid?
Not to kill him, having a warrant for it, but to be damned for killing him, which no warrant can defend us.
I thought thou hadst been resolute.
So I am, to let him live.
Back to the Duke of Gloucester, to tell him so?
I pray thee, stay a while. I hope my holy humor will change. 'Twas wont to hold me but till one would tell 20.
How dost thou feel thyself now?
Faith, some certain dregs of conscience are not yet within me.
Remember our reward, when the deed is done.
Zounds, he dies. I had forgot the reward.
Where is thy conscience now?
In the Duke of Gloucester's purse.
So when he opens his purse to give us our reward, thy conscience flies out?
Let it go. There's few or none will entertain it.
How if it come to thee again?
I'll not meddle with it. It is a dangerous thing. It makes a man a coward. A man cannot steal, but it accuseth him. He cannot swear, but it checks him. He cannot lie with his neighbor's wife, but it detects him. 'Tis a blushing shamefast spirit that mutinies in a man's bosom. It fills one full of obstacles. It made me once restore a purse of gold that I found. It beggars any man that keeps it. It is turned out of all towns and cities for a dangerous thing, and every man that means to live well endeavors to trust to himself and to live without it.
Zounds, it is even now at my elbow, persuading me not to kill the Duke.
Take the devil in thy mind, and relieve him not. He would insinuate with thee, but to make thee sigh.
Tut! I am strong-framed. He cannot prevail me, I warrant thee.
Spoke like a tale fellow that respects his reputation. Come, shall we to this gear?
Hark! He stirs. Shall I strike?
No. First, let's reason with him.
Where art thou, keeper? Give me a cup of wine.
You shall have wine enough, my lord. Anon.
In God's name, what art thou?
A man, as you are.
But not, as I am, royal.
Nor you, as we are loyal.
Thy voice is thunder, but thy looks are humble.
My voice is now the king's, my looks mine own.
How darkly and how deadly dost thou speak? Your eyes do menace me. Why look you pale? Who sent you hither? Wherefore do you come?
To
murder me?
Aye.
You scarcely have the hearts to tell me so, and therefore cannot have the hearts to do it. Wherein, my friends, have I offended you?
Offended us you have not, but the king.
I shall be reconciled to him again.
Never, my lord. Therefore prepare to die.
Are you called forth out a world of men to slay the innocent? What is my offense? Where are the evidence that do accuse me? What lawful quest have given their verdict up upon to the frowning judge? Or who pronounced the bitter sentence of poor Clarence's death? Before I be convict by course of law, to threaten me with death is most unlawful. I charge you, as you hope to have redemption by Christ's dear blood shed for our grievous sins, that you depart and lay no hands on me. The deed you undertake is damnable.
What we will do, we do upon command.
And he that hath commanded is the king. Stab. And then he's dead.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that interlude. We will now continue with the sonnet reading. 41 by Lauren Kimbrough, 42 by Blythe Morocco, 43 by Isabel Lewis, 44 by Cameron Walker, and a special guest, 45, instead of Ben Grander, we will have Grace Hensel.
Those petty wrongs that liberty commits, when I am sometime absent from thy heart, thy beauty in thy years full well befits, for still temptation follows where thou art. Gentle thou art, and therefore to be won. Beauteous thou art, therefore to be assailed. And when a woman woos, what woman's son will sourly leave her till she have prevailed? Ay me, but yet thou mightest my seat forbear, and chide try beauty in thy straying youth, who lead thee in their right even there, where thou art forced to break a twofold truth, hers by thy beauty tempting her to thee, thine by thy beauty being false to me.
That thou hast her, it is not all my grief, and yet it may be said I loved her dearly, and that she hath thee is of my wailing chief. A loss in love that touches me more nearly loving offenders, thus I will excuse ye. Thou dost love her because thou knowest I love her, and for my sake even so doth she abuse me, suffering my friend for my sake to approve her. If I lose thee, my loss is my love's gain, and losing her, my friend, hath found that loss. Both find each other, and I lose both twain, and both for my sake lay on me this cross. But here's the joy, my friend and I are one. Sweet flattery, then she loves but me alone.
When most I wink, then do mine eyes best see, for all the day they view things unrespected. But when I sleep in dreams they look on thee, and darkly bright and are bright and dark directed. Then thou whose shadows doth make bright, how would thy shadows form happy show? To the clear day with thy much clearer light, when to unseeing eyes thy shade shines so. How would I say mine eyes be blessed made, by looking on thee in living day, when in dead night thy fair and perfect shade through heavy sleep on sightless eyes doth stay. All days are nights to see till I see thee, and nights bright days when dreams do show thee me.
If the dull substance of my flesh were thought, injurious distance should not stop my way. For then, despite of space, I would be brought from limits far remote where thou dost stay. No matter then, although my foot did stand upon the farthest earth moved from thee, for nimble thought can jump both sea and land, as far as think the place where he would be. As soon as think the place, thought kills me that I am thought, to leap large lengths of miles where thou art gone, but that so much of earth and water wrought, I must attend time's leisure with my moan, receiving not by elements so slow, but heavy tears, badges of either's woe.
The other two, slight air and purging fire, are both with thee wherever I abide. The first my thought, the other my desire, these present absent with swift motion slide. For when these quicker elements are gone, in tender embassy of love to thee, my life, being made a flower, with two alone sinks down to death, oppressed with melancholy, until life's composition be recurred. By those swift messengers returned from thee, who even now come back again, assured of thy fair health, recounting it to me. This told I joy, but then no longer glad. I send them back again, and straight grow sad.
All right, thank you very much, Grace, for that save. Something for Ben Grander. We will now stop for another interlude. Performances, excerpts from Richard II by Reese Shelton, Kate Becker, and Noel Edelman.
Go bind thou up yon dangling apricocks, which like unruly children make their sire stoop with oppression of their prodigal weight. Give some supportance to the bending twigs. Go thou, and like an executioner, cut off the heads of too fast-growing sprays, that look too lofty in our commonwealth. All must be even in our government. You thus employed, I will go root away. The noisome weeds without profit suck the soil's fertility from wholesome flowers.
Why should we, in the compass of a pale, keep law and form in due proportion, showing as in a model our firm estate, when our sea-walled garden, the whole land, is full of weeds, her fairest flowers choked up, her fruit trees all upturned, her hedges ruined, her knots disordered, and her wholesome herbs swarming with caterpillars?
Hold thy peace. He that hath suffered this disordered spring hath now himself met with the fall of the leaf. The weeds which his broad-spreading leaves did shelter, that seemed in eating him to hold him up, are plucked up root and all by Bolingbroke. I mean the Earl of Wiltshire, bushy green.
What? Are they dead?
They are, and Bolingbroke hath seized the wasteful king. Oh, what pity is it that he had not so trimmed and dressed his land, as we this garden. What at time of year do wound the bark the skin of our fruit trees. Had he done so himself, had borne the crown, which waste of idle hours hath quite thrown down.
What, think you then the king shall be deposed?
Depressed he is already, and deposed 'tis doubt he will be. Letters came last night to a dear friend of the good Duke of York's, that tell black tidings.
Oh, I'm pressed to death through want of speaking. though old Adam's likeness set to dress this garden. How dares thy harsh rude tongue sound this unpleasing news? What serpent hath suggested thee to make a second fall of cursed man? Why dost thou say King Richard is deposed? Darest thou little better thing than earth, divine his downfall? Say, where, when, and how camest thou by this ill tidings? Speak, thou wretch.
Pardon me, madam. Little joy have I to breathe this news. Yet what I say is true. King Richard, he is in the mighty hold of Bolingbroke. Their fortunes both are weighed, and your lord's scale is nothing but himself, and some few vanities that make him light. But in the balance of great Bolingbroke, besides himself are all the English peers, and with that odd he weighs King Richard down. Post you to London, and you will find it so. I speak no more than everyone doth know.
Nimble mischance that art so light of foot. Doth not thy embassage belong to me, and I am last that knows it? Oh, thou thinkest to serve me last, that I may longest keep thy sorrow on my breast. Come, ladies, go to meet at London, London's king in woe. What was I born to this, that my sad look should get grace the triumph of the great Bolingbroke? Gardener, for telling me these news of woe, pray God that the plants thou graspest may never grow.
Poor queen, so that thy state may be no worse, I would skill were subject to thy curse. Here did she fall a tear, here in this place. I'll set a bank of rue, sour herb of grace. Rue even for Ruth, here shortly shall be seen, in the remembrance of a weeping queen.
All right, thank you very much. We now have up next Sonnet 46, David Latadoye, Sonnet 47, Lauren Daly, Sonnet 48, Sean Gramlich, and then we're going to cut the sonnets reading off for this period so we have more time for the interludes that follow.
Mine eye and heart are at mortal war. How to divide the conquest of thy sight? Mine eye, my heart, thy picture's sight would bar. My heart, mine eye, the freedom of thy right. My heart doth plead that thou in him dost lie, a closet never pierced with crystal eyes. But the defendant doth that plea deny, and says in him thy fair appearance is lies. To side this title is impaneled, a quest of thoughts all tenets to the heart, and by their verdict is determined the clear eyes' moiety and the dear heart's part, as thus mine eyes do is thy outward part, and my heart's right thy inward love of heart.
Betwixt mine eye and heart a league is took, and each doth good turns now into the other. When that mine eye is famished for a look, or heart in love with sighs himself doth smother. With my love's picture then my eye doth feast, and to the painted banquet bids my heart. Another time mine eye is my heart's guest, and in his thoughts of love doth share a part. So, either by thy picture or my love, thyself away, art present still with me, for thou not farther than my thoughts canst move, and I am still with them, and they with thee. Or if they sleep, thy picture in my sight awakes my heart to heart and eyes' delight.
How careful was I when I took my way, each trifle under truest bars to thrust, that to use and might unused stay, from hands of falsehood and sure words of trust. But thou, to whom my jewel trifles are, most worthy comfort, now my greatest grief, thou best of dearest and mine only care, art left the prey of every vulgar thief. Thee have I not locked up in any chest, save where thou art not, though I feel thou art, within the gentle closure of my breast, from whence at pleasure thou mayest come and part, and even thence thou wilt be stolen, I fear, for truth proves thievish for a prize so dear.
All right, now with the 7 minutes we have left in this period, we're going to forego reading sonnet number 49 and 50. We'll save that for the beginning of next period, so we'll have more time to hear these two interludes. I'm sorry, first, before we have the music interlude, we have another theater interlude that's not on your program we're going to introduce right now. From Much Ado About Nothing, we have Jackie Grooms and Zaria Khan. And then after that, after after this particular interlude from What to Do About Nothing, we'll hear performances of Baroque music by our very own Miss Carrie Carver of the math department, and Raven Hawkins playing the viola, and Isabel Lewis playing the violin.
Now, Ursula, when Beatrice doth come, as we do trace this alley up and down, our talk must only be of Benedict. When I do name him, let it be thy part to praise him more than ever man did merit. My talk to thee must be how Benedict is sick in love with Beatrice. Of this matter is little Cupid's crafty arrow made, that only wounds by hearsay. Now begin, for look where Beatrice, like a lapwing, runs close by the ground to hear our confidence.
The pleasantest angling is to see the fish cut with her golden oars the silver stream, and greedily devour the treacherous bait. So angle we for Beatrice, who even now is crouched in the woodbine overture. Fear you not my part of the dialogue.
Then we go near her, that her ear loose nothing of the false sweet bait that we lay for. No, truly, Ursula, she is too disdainful. I know her spirits are as coy and wild as haggards of the rock.
But are you sure that Benedict loves Beatrice so entirely?
So says the prince and my new betrothed lord.
And did they bid you tell her of it, madam?
They did, entreat me to acquaint her of it. But I persuaded them, if they loved Benedict, to wish him wrestle with affection, and never to let Beatrice know of it.
Why did you so? Doth not the gentleman deserve full as fortune a bed as ever Beatrice shall couch upon?
O God of love, I know he doth deserve as much as may be yielded to a man, but nature never framed a woman's heart of prouder step than that of Beatrice. Disdain and scorn ride, sparkling in her eyes, misprizing what they look on, and her wit values itself so highly that her all matter else seems weak. She cannot love, nor take no shape nor projection of affection. She is so self-endeared.
Sure, I think so, and therefore certainly it were not good. She knew his love, lest she make sport at it.
Why, you speak the truth. I never saw yet a man, how wise, how noble, young, how really featured, but she would spell him backward. If fair-faced, she would swear the gentleman should be her sister. If black, why nature jarring of an antique made a foul blot. If tall, a lance ill-headed. If low, an agate very vilely cut. If speaking, why a vein blown with all winds. If silent, why a block moved with none. So turns she every man wrong, side out, and never gives to the truth and virtue that which simpleness and merit purchaseth.
Sure, such carping is not commendable.
No, not to be so odd and from all fashions, as Beatrice is, cannot be commendable. But who dare tell her so? If I should speak, she would mock me into air. She would laugh me out of myself, press me to death with. Therefore, let Benedict, like covered fire, consume away in sighs, waste inwardly. It were a better death than die with mocks, which is as bad as dying with tickling.
Yet tell her of it. Hear what she will say.
No, rather, I will go to Benedict and counsel him to fight against his passion, and truly I'll devise some honest slanders to stain my cousin with. One doth not know how much an ill word may empoison liking.
Oh, do not do your cousin such a wrong. She cannot be so much without true judgment, having so swift and excellent a wit, as she is prized to have as to refuse so rare a gentleman as Signor Benedict.
He is the only man of Italy, always excepted my dear Claudio.
I pray you, be not angry with me, madam, speaking my fancy. Signor Benedict, for shape, for bearing, argument, and valor, goes foremost in report through Italy.
Indeed, he hath an excellent good name.
His excellent did earn it, ere he had it. When are you married, madam?
Why, every day, tomorrow. Come, go in, I'll show thee some attires, and have thy counsel, which is best to furnish me tomorrow.
She's limed, I warrant you. We have caught her, madam.
If it proves so, then loving goes by haps. Some Cupid kills with arrows, some with traps.